Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We continue with Kabir Ji's Var, Sat, 7 days of the week. Now, it is important to remember that within the Indian context, every day of the week had some significance from a ritualistic practice, especially fasting. So you had fasting on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and so on, highly regulated. What Kabirji is trying to tell us is that instead of external fasting, there is a particular restraint and fasting to be made inside of us. And today we will consider the last 5 sloks of this composition, starting with Brihaspat, the equivalent of Thursday. And we will do it one at a time. So the first one is Brihaspat Bikhia Dei Bahai, Teen Dev Ek Sangalai. So Bikhia Dei Bahai, on this day, let's say on Thursday, Bikhia Dei Bahai. Bikhia is poison. Dei Bahai is to let it flow out. In other words, get rid of the afflictions of the mind, the poisons of the mind. And eventually, it all boils down to haume, which is the source of this poison. So this is a sort of a bloodletting, if you will, internal. Bikhia Dei Bahai, and then do what? Teen Dev Ek Sangalai. Think of the trinity of Hinduism. Teen Dev refers to the very popular trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Shiva, that is worshipped by different sects. So give those thoughts up, he's saying. Teen Dev Ek Sangalai, because the mind has to eventually attach itself to the one, Ek Sang. Lie. Teen Nadi Tehtrikuti Mahe. Teen Nadi. The 3 tributaries come to a confluence within. What is being said here is, what are those 3 tributaries? These are traits. Knowledge, devotion, and action. These have to come together within the mind. So action, speech, and intent have to all commingle, come to a confluence like the tributaries come together. Sangam. Teen Nadi Tehtrikuti Mai. And Ehnis Kasmal Tove Nahe. So unless you bring these together, you will not be able to wash away the poison. So devotion, action, knowledge have to come together. That is what bhakti is in Gurmat. And now to the 6th salok. Sukrit sahare so eh brat chadai, andin aap se lada. Sukrit, Friday. Sukrit, noble action. In other words, action that has no bias of the ego involved. So, brat chade, this is the fasting that one has to do. The fast of checking one's own pride and vanity. Anandin aap se lada. The inner struggle of the mind, the fight within is what has to be fought. and then aap se lade, and that is really killing the ego. That's the battle, the internal jihad, if you will. Surkhi pancho rakhe sabah, to duji drishtana paise kaveh. So combating the ego and its associated ancillary thoughts, afflictions, feelings that are sprouting from there. Pancho rakhe sabe. Pancho, the senses, control of the senses. Then alone, tau duji drishtana paise kabe, the mind will not presence another. In other words, it'll begin to see the connectedness of everything. Then Kabir says, Thavar thiv kar rakhe soye jot di vatti kat mein joye. This is his advice. Thavar thir kar rakhe soye. Only that person can maintain the state of mind where the self is present if one is informed by knowledge, illuminated by knowledge. Jot divatti ghat mein soye. Only then will you see the presence of the self within. And then bahir bhitar bhaya prakas. You will see the presence of the Creator inside and outside. Tab hua sagal karm ka naas. Sagal karm here, the ineffectiveness of all ritual, karm kand. Jab lag ghat mein duji aan, as long as there is dependence on the ego, or as long as the ego is present within, tolo mehel na labbe jaan, it is impossible to actually find the presence of the Creator within. Ramat Ram Syo Lago Rang. In order to see the house, the presence of the self within, Ramat Ram Syo Lago Rang, you have to be in love. This is devotional love, attachment to Ram. Kah Kabir tab nirmal ang. Then you become free of the ego. When you completely immerse yourself in love for the self. On that note, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.